you know, this is the best time to get involved in the movement. It's the best time to get involved in, you know, the liberty movement itself. You know, because and we're talking about the capital L liberty movement, because we need all the help we can get. We need to fight, you know, what the state is doing to our lives. You know, the fact that it's destroying families, that it's tearing people apart. You know, we live in a world now where cops are spending more time pulling speeders over and arresting people with possession of marijuana on their persons than they are going after, say, murderers, child rapists, thieves, even rapists, if you will. So it's a very big concern, and I think that is a very, very, very big thing that we need to overcome, this obstacle, this hurdle, if you will. And I think it's very important that we get the message of liberty out to people who haven't heard it. I mean, there are people out there who are so upset with the current status quo that they really want an alternative. They want solutions. Because people are upset with Obama over the war, over, you know, the whole torture issue, over, you know, the whole Gitmo exercise. He came off as an anti-war peace candidate. I call him an anti-war butt candidate. And just like, you know, President Bush and one of the top libertarians in the movement, I know, he's probably one of the best libertarians. His name's Sheldon Richman. He is probably the best libertarian in the movement. He's been in the movement for so many years, and he and I are very good friends, by the way. He basically called Bush a free trade butt president, because Bush was never for free trade. He claimed to be for free trade, but he was never for free trade. And same thing with Obama. You know, he claimed to be against the war, but he never was against it the entire time. So I think it really shows that this is the hypocrisy that we get from government all the time, especially from Obama, is very indicative of the kind of state that we have. Sheldon Richman recently penned an article from the Future of Freedom Foundation. It's called Obama's Betrayals, and he's talking about how Obama has basically adopted Bush's position on a lot of issues, not just the war, but also his position on state secrecy and more to stop the lawsuits over torture and eavesdropping. Obama won't even stop the torture going on. You know, sure, he's not entirely backpedaling, but he's soft pedaling his positions a little bit, and he's pretty much downplaying the seriousness, the gravity of torture. You know, I said on my show last week, you know, either torture is good or it's bad. You know, it's a black and white issue. It doesn't matter if it's done for moral and ethical reasons, or if you think it's done for moral and ethical reasons, it is still wrong. And I stand by that statement. And that's the issue right there. You know, either torture is moral and ethical, or it's not. And does it work? No. People who freely give knowledge about, you know, when the next terrorist attack is going to happen. And even Ron Paul has said this on his Dr. Straight Talk column. So until we understand that torture as a tool is not only is it impractical, it doesn't work, but it's also wrong. It's a human rights violation. And it's also indicative of the fact that it shows that we're no better than the enemy if we use torture, if we use waterboarding, if we do use extraordinary rendition, a policy that was set by the Clinton administration. It was used extensively by the Bush administration, and now it's even being used to a certain extent by the Obama administration. So it's really, really terrible that we see this, and we've got to fight it on all fronts.
Now, we were talking the other day, and you were telling me about your radio show.
Yes, I have a radio show. It's called, it's actually a spin-off of my regular show, Liberty Cap Talk Live, which starts in August. I had done that show originally on Blog Talk Radio, then I moved to NowLive.com, and NowLive is no longer in business. It just went defunct almost a month ago. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, and if anybody wants to ask me about that, I'll discuss it with them on the air, because it'll just take too long to get into it, and we don't really have the time. But it's but now I did my spin-off show on that site, and I decided to reboot it and bring it to Blog Talk Radio for the first time. And the first episode, the premiere season 1 episode for Blog Talk Radio, is podcasted. It's already available on iTunes. You can look for it. It's Liberty Cap Talk Live, the special edition show. And it's available at Blog Talk Radio, and you can check it out right there. The only thing is, if you want to know, for those who want to know this, I had to put, the upcoming episodes and copy them on my extra notes section on the profile, because if you want to know the actual upcoming episodes, you have to check out. You have to register with the site in order to check it out. But it's for free. If people want to be members of the site, they can be. But those who don't want to register with the site, and I'm sure there are plenty of those who don't, I decided to put the player on there in the upcoming episodes, and also the podcasted player that's also featured on there. They can play it and listen to it on there as well. So they can subscribe to iTunes and check out that site. But it's a great site. It's it's a great show. It's 2 hours long. We discuss everything. This show is a little bit more lean more towards the economic and cultural aspect of our society that's influenced by the government, by the state, if you will. And this is a great way for people who are not necessarily libertarians, but they want to learn the libertarian philosophy, or they want to learn how we think and so forth. And they're invited to call into the show. If they disagree, but it's a great show. I have 3 panelists every week. We go into a lot of issues. We talk about Gitmo. We talk about a Free Stater who has been locked up for over 6 weeks in New Hampshire. We talk about Obama's appointee, his new nominated Supreme Court candidate, if you will, Sonia Sotomayor. We were talking about her for the first half hour. I mean, we went into a good number of discussions. This week I'm interviewing J. Neil Schulman. He's a libertarian author and filmmaker. He wrote a book called Alongside Night back in 1979. It was a big bestseller at the time, and it's currently in reprints, and right now he's working on a film adaptation. He's written the script, and the film adaptation of his book is currently in development with an indie company. So it's going to be exciting. So
you have so much coming up, and you've been doing so much for a while now. There was a really interesting article. Well, I also posted it. I found your healthcare article absolutely fascinating. They were, it doesn't surprise me that they were infected with HIV. It really should surprise me. But at this point,
which healthcare article are you talking about?
Oh, the one I posted.
You mean the blog posting on the VA hospitals? Yes, yeah. that blog, my blogs have been behind for a while.